everybody, and welcome to the FFL Solidity Team Call. My name is Marisa Maggio. Today is Thursday, January 11th, 2024. We are officially going into week 3 of 4 of January. Super excited for that. Now, each and every week we kind of sit back and think, who can we have on the call that's really going to add value, not only, to me, but to the whole entire team. So we have an agent that is within his first year on the call with us today, absolutely crushing it from what I can see, consistently helping, 40, 50, 60 families in a month, which is absolutely amazing. So super, super excited to hear from Madison Pimentel today. Madison, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak to. I've heard a lot about you guys' agency, so I'm just happy to be here.
Hey, well, we're excited to have you on and super thankful to have you on. But with that being said, Madison, just to kind of hit it off, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you were doing before Family First Life, and kind of what got you into Family First Life.
I guess I'm pretty basic. I guess about myself, I'm a family man. The Lord has blessed me with a 2-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter now. And for fun, I used to game, but that wasn't sustainable. I mean, so now I just enjoy watching anime when I do have a little bit of time for all my anime watchers in the crowd here. Other than that, I mean, before FFL, I was actually in retail. I worked for Best Buy. I was actually a young manager there, about like 18, 19 years old. And that's actually where I met Freddie. I know Freddie is in here, another Hall of Famer. And, I was there probably for about like 5 years. And the same time, though, I opened up a restaurant. So right now I have a restaurant I've owned for about 10 years now. And I was trying to do both at the same time. And it got to a point where it wasn't just sustainable. So I had to let, one go. And obviously, I'm not going to let the restaurant go. So I ended up doing the restaurant full time. And along the way, not to make a super long story, my boy Freddie, at the time, I guess you guys were able to post like deposits and stuff like that or whatever on the Instagram. And I saw him posting deposits like crazy. I'm like, what is this guy doing? Selling drugs or something? So I literally just I hit him up. I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? And he told me that, he's selling life insurance, a great opportunity. And, it took me probably like a year after that conversation to be like, you know what, let me at least just try to get the license. Because at the time I was just like, I was just at the restaurant. I was like, I have no time at all. So my idea was, let me get the license. Let me have it as a backup plan, just in case, I have to kind of fall back on it. And also in the back of my head, I knew, for those that don't know, I'm actually in Georgia now. I'm originally from Massachusetts. So I guess in the back of my head, I always knew that I was going to move out of Massachusetts and move somewhere warm and have more like a family environment, more family-friendly environment, because Massachusetts is cold 9 months out of the year. And I knew I couldn't take my restaurant with me. So I guess for me, I was like, you know what, let me just have something on the side that I can always kind of refer back to. So I got my license about about like 2 years ago. And, I fully got started in May was when I made my first lead purchase.
Awesome.
And,
so,
yeah. Go ahead.
So real quick, so just sorry to interject, but coming into this, it sounds like, you kind of pondered upon it for some time, right? You knew Freddie for, an extended period of time. You saw his previous posts, and I'm sure his posts now too. And eventually you reached out to him and were just like, you know what, hey, like, let me get this license, like, what's the worst that can happen, right? So you had that backup plan. Now you're in Georgia with your family, which I think is great because I'm still in Mass. I know it's really cold here. That's definitely
gotta get out of there.
Hey, maybe, you never know. But with that being said, it's really cool to think, that you kind of, you looked upon something for so long and now you took action on it and you're in it. So kind of with that standing today, being in Georgia, are you still running the restaurant or are you working full-time here, both?
Yeah, so the first I say first like 8 months were really crazy. I moved down here in November of last year. And so, I'm grateful to have my mom and my brother over there running the show in the moment. And they kind of lean on me and trust me in regards to all the admin work. So I deal with, doing schedule, payroll, paying the bills, and doing all that stuff, going through the certifications, the permits, all that stuff. I, fly as well, usually monthly. I usually fly, especially for the holidays. I was there in November, December, and help out more in the moment when our busiest drive times are.
Love it, love it. That's amazing. So you're, running a business from afar and in two different ways, right? Because you're all telesales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now kind of walking into that, Madison, talk to us a little bit about coming into the business. Your first year, you're still in that, which is great. What do you think are some of the key factors that have helped you right at a high level? And did it look like that, your first day?
No, the first couple months were really, what do I like to call it? Character building.
Hmm.
It's literally what it was. I think the biggest part about where I'm at now is structure, discipline, and more importantly, man, the circle that you're around.
Hmm. And talk to
It's a
us a little bit about that. I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry, Madison, but you said in the
you're good.
circle that you're around, right? Like, what does that mean to you in this business?
If I'm gonna be honest here, it's probably the most important part. There's no, I'm literally surrounded by Hall of Famers.
Right.
There's no way I'm not gonna be one. That's just my mentality. You know what I mean? So it's like, you might have, one or two policies in a day, and then you see, Hall of Famer number one has four, Hall of Famer number two has five. I'm like, all right, hold up, I'm looking like a chump. I gotta step my game up. And they automatically, subconsciously you start thinking like, okay, well, five is clearly attainable because these dudes are doing it, every single day. So the circle is very important for me.
And you're talking about you're on Zoom together, right? So you're plugging into that Zoom like it's your virtual office. Is that fair to say, Madison?
Fair to say, yes.
I love that. I love that. And one of the most important things I think that you've said thus far, anyways, is your first few months were character building. I think that that's
Mhm.
key because it's like if you can't stick out those first few months, like it's tough for everybody, guys, but you work that learning curve, you find your structure, your schedule, and your disciplines in those few months, you implement, you surround yourself with the right people, and you're setting yourself up to win, right?
A
So
100%.
I think you just basically gave everybody the recipe for success, which is plug in, find your structure, find your rhythm, but also know in your first couple months they're going to be character building, right? Like
A 100%.
you're going to go through some things, but you're going to get through them, right?
100%.
Now, in addition to following a schedule, what are some of like the goals you try to hit, whether that's each day, each week, to make sure that
Hmm.
your monthly goal does indeed, happen?
Yeah, and just to hit on a little bit because I do want to be, of value to you and your agency. When it comes to like structure, um, you know, uh, for example, it's very important for you to have a plan, kind of how you start your day. Like for example, my schedule is not gonna work for everybody. Everybody's schedule is gonna be different. And it's when you do end up setting a schedule for yourself, don't put yourself in a prison, if that makes sense. Like write something down that makes sense, right? Like if you're not gonna wake up at 4 in the morning, don't put on your schedule, wake up at 4 in the morning. You know what I mean? Since you've never done it before. You know what I mean? So for me, I've always woken up early. So my day starts at 4 in the morning. So from 4 in the morning, I wake up, I'm out the door by like 4:30 just to hit on my schedule. I'm usually by the gym by 5, and I'm back home around like 7:30. And then between 7:30, 8:30, I typically do any type of admin work for the restaurant. And then from 8:30 to 9, I read the Bible, and then I'm dialing from 9 a.m. all the way to 7 or 8 o'clock. Just literally what my schedule is Monday through Friday. And then on Saturdays, I'm starting to cut back. So now Saturdays I work till like noon to 1 p.m. typically.
I
But
love that. And I think
those days I woke up later, and Sunday is God's day, and I rest.
Amen. Well, when you're writing at the level you can, I think that God wants you to rest, like, because you might need it. But I think that
Amen.
that really is super important, guys. Have a plan. If your plan is, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 8 a.m., I mean, that's okay if we have a next step plan. But as long as you're being honest with yourself, just like Madison just said, don't say you're going to wake up at 4 a.m. if you've never done it before. You wake up at 10
Exactly.
a.m., be honest, at least right with yourself, and be like, hey, maybe I'll wake up at 9 tomorrow and try to work my schedule, back, so to say. So make it
Exactly.
realistic. And I love how you
Exactly.
said, sorry, go for it.
No, no, you're good. Go ahead. You.
I was just gonna say, I love how you said, don't put yourself in a prison. Like, I know when I transitioned from in-home to telesales, like I was like available, so to say, on my schedule, like for like 96 hours in the week. Like, guys, like that's not gonna work. You're gonna get really tired really fast and really frustrated really fast. So you gotta pin in those time blocks. So I love how you
hmm
said that. And also just like you structured your schedule in a way that it works for you. Just like you
hmm
said, that might not work for everybody on this call. But guys, make your own version of that, because if you don't have that, it's gonna make everything in this business, like literally, in my opinion, 99% harder. Like find your schedule and pin it in. So love
100%,
that.
100%. And in regards to that schedule, you got to stay disciplined. It's a big part. Because if you had a boss breathing down your neck, telling you, hey, you got to be there at 8 p.m., at 8 in the morning, and you got to clock out at 4 p.m., like you're going to be there at 8 in the morning, or, you do it, you miss one or twice, then you're probably going to get fired. So you got to have the same intensity with, when it comes to your schedule, because you are your own boss. For me, it was easy to learn that because I've been, running a business for 10 years. So it's a little different, but discipline is very important. Obviously, circle. But in regards to your question, in regards to like the goals, for me, weekly, monthly, I want to IP, no less than 50,000. So 50 to 60,000. In regards to how I get there, I make sure that I feel uncomfortable if I don't write 20 in a week. Like 20 has to be like, the goal every single week, no matter what. 20,000 every week. And typically that's I break, when you start to break the numbers down, it's so attainable. It's about 4,000 a day for my schedule, because, I work Monday through Friday, and then Saturday for me is a buffer. It's just extra revenue. That's the way I see it. For folks that, don't have a family per se, no wife, no kids, I'd be working 7 days a week. Best believe I'll write 100,000 a month with no problem. But that's it has to be a schedule that's a schedule that works for me. 20,000 for y'all could be 3,000 a day because you guys are working 7 days a week. In regards to that, I typically right now I shoot for about 20 appointments a day. Right now with this new structure that I have for this year, and then I want call to close in between. And I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about that. In the beginning, appointments were really bad for me. They always no-show me, period. I was like, you know what? Let me try to do one call close. And I tried one call close, and that didn't work out for me. So I was just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then eventually I just grew a liking of just just trying to close the deal, whether it was a one call to close or an appointment. So now when an appointment, let's say no shows me, I'm honestly happy because I get to one call close and I get to deal with like, a client in the moment. And I might be weird, but I think it makes it fun when you get, one, you get all the objections, it makes it fun throughout the day. You get the, excuse my language, the assholes throughout the day. And I think that, that kind of, I guess, my group is a little weird when it comes to that, especially my boy Freddie. It kind of gets us going. It's like a little jump start. All right. And I now enjoy a lot one call closing to the point where I miss it because I have a full schedule. I'm like, damn, like, no one call to close in between today.
Right.
So 20 appointments a day, one call close in between. And my goal is at least 7 to 10 presentations. And, there's no way you don't close at least 3 to 4 policies out of that.
Absolutely. So that was a lot of great information at the same time. And basically what I saw you do, Madison, is work the number backwards, right? From monthly to weekly to daily. And then even saying, these are the reps I have to get in by saying, I have to do 7 to 10 presentations to make sure that I get to those 4 families' health every single day, right?
Correct.
And I love how you said Saturday, it's like kind of like your extra day, if you will, like a short half day. And guys, like I always say, like that was a luxury, Madison, like my Saturday used to look like it was like it was a normal day, if you will. It was like Monday, it was like Tuesday, right? And that was because I was, trying to compete within myself. And like you said, I had the time. I didn't necessarily at the time have the money to not work Saturday, right? So it's like I worked my way into like working Saturdays to be able to take a step back and work a kind of half day on Saturday. So I love how you shared that. And then I love how you said with one call closing. And I think that this is huge because a lot of us can be kind of intimidated by what's going to happen when Larry answers the phone, right? And it's like, quite frankly, like we don't know what's going to happen when anybody answers the phone, but that's our job. And when you can keep it fun like that, like you're saying, like, I like to get an objection and a rebuttal here. I like to have that conversation about, why we need the bank on the front end, right? I like to have the conversation about what the social security number does. Like that doesn't bother me. It keeps it fun. When you can look at it like that, guys, it looks more like a challenge that's very faceable because you faced it before. And if you haven't, you got to face the challenge to be able to complete it. But with that being said, when you're able to look at it that way, it keeps it fun through a different type of lens. So I love how you said that you guys kind of like keep it fun. That's important, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're getting stuff done, which you are. So you're setting up appointments, and then if your appointments are no showing you, you're one call closing in between.
Yeah, and the biggest part too, if I can give any advice in regards to appointments, it might be contradicting, but be late. Just be
Tell
late.
us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like I literally, like for example, if I have an appointment coming up at 2 p.m. and my last appointment ended at 1:50, I'm one call closing until 2 p.m.
Right.
You're
because
then I'm gonna call this. Yeah, no, because he can no show me. You know what I mean? So then I call him at 2 p.m. At 3 o'clock. I'd be calling people 2 hours late. Like it's crazy. I just tell them like, hey man, sorry, running a little late here. I'm just giving you a call to courtesy. My apologies. I am an hour and a half late. Now, do you want us to just reschedule or do you want us to take care of this now really quickly? Very simple. In their heads, they're like, oh, this guy's super busy.
Right. Which you're busy, which makes you important, which makes you in control, right? Like everybody wants to work with someone who's busy. So I love that. I love that. And I love how you said, don't wait. Like if it's 1:30, you have a 2 o'clock scheduled, one call close literally until 2 o'clock, then call your appointment and whatever happens there. If somebody answers the phone at 1:55, you're like, hey, can you get that pen and paper? Like, let's do this thing, right?
Exactly. Literally. Yep.
So love the one you're with, so to say. So I love that. Now, getting started, what lead flow would you suggest, to a new agent that's working telesales and they're full-time with Family First
Life? Okay. So in the beginning, I did a lot of platinum leads, the ILC leads. And the first couple of months, that's all I was doing. That's all I could afford, at the time. And it definitely built my character. Those are some difficult leads to work, especially with telesales, because in home is a little different. You're booking appointments, but platinum leads, it's a lot harder to try to one call close or even book appointments or try to close over the phone. So that built my character a lot. Because it was just 99% no to everything. I'd be dialing for I've done 1,000 dials a day, and nothing, 0 presentations. They literally built my character. So it's definitely a good character building. Now, what my recommendation is, as soon as you get paid, try to get as much money saved up to try to find yourself kind of like an in-house or like a final expense Facebook guy. That would, do your leads where they come in fresh. That's my big advice with that. And then just know that there's levels. You know what I mean? You're gonna be spending $500 a week, which is, I think my first purchase was like $900. I'm like, whoa, hold up. And then I, start spending like $500, $600 a week. And then, it gradually increased to like 1,200 to 1,500. And like for me, I got lucky because I mean, you had Mahmoud here in your call, I believe last week or 2 weeks ago. And he has,
Yeah.
he got his guys. So he, I saw a YouTube video from him, and I connected with him, and he was super helpful. And, I was able to invest into the guy he uses. And then, from there, I moved on to veteran leads. So that's what I do now. But just know that where you're at now, it would just make sure that when you get those first payments, obviously pay your bills, but like have enough money aside where you're like, okay, I gotta, so I can put it aside so I can reinvest into the business for better leads. Because better leads buys you more time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
It's always a trade-off, time and money, right? Which one are we trading off? And I think that's huge. Because you're saying the
exactly,
lead flow that you start with isn't the lead flow that you're going to stay on, right?
exactly,
So I
exactly.
love how you said, working those leads originally, they built your character. And I think that that's huge because it's like, guys, like, like Madison, I've been told no, like probably like a trillion times, right? Like to the point it just like goes over my head, right? It's like, okay, like, all right, Betty, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's fine, right? However, in the beginning, you can feel like, oh my gosh, like this one person, they were so mean, and you can kind of take things personally. Or you can realize like they have no idea who you are, you're on the phone, don't take it personally. They're simply just maybe having a bad day. Who
Yep,
knows? It's all good. But make a couple of sales, right? Put that money aside and then investing into a campaign that you have a bit more control over. So
hmm
again, guys, lead flow you start with should not be the lead flow you stay on. If it is, by the way, like that should be concerning to you because it's just not the way that the ball is supposed to roll, so to say. So that might mean like you got to keep the ball rolling a little bit more. It also might mean like, hey, like you're not putting enough money aside for leads. You're not treating it like a business, right? Like Madison, you have X amount of dollars. You maybe have to invest into your inventory with the restaurant. It's not debatable or negotiable. You're doing it because the restaurant needs it. It's not like, oh, well maybe I'm just going to pay my cell phone bill instead. Like, no. The restaurant needs the supplies. Same thing here, guys. We need leads to be able to help families. Like, if you want to
exactly.
work your warm market, like, the well be it. But me and Madison can probably tell you, like, that's probably not going to make you a Hall of Fame producer. It's just probably not. So I
Mm-mm.
love how you talk kind of about the levels too, right? There's different levels you're
hmm
going to work up in terms of your leads. There's different
hmm
amounts you're going to be comfortable spending, investing, reinvesting, looking at your numbers and being honest with yourself, right? It's
hmm
easy when you come in to help 1, 2, 3, 4 families, and then you're like, oh wow, look at this, X amount of dollars that you haven't had in your bank account, and then you're broke the next week with no leads. That is
Exactly.
not going to serve you, right? So just
Exactly.
reach out to your mentor, stay plugged in, just like you did, Madison. I love how you talked about connecting with other people too. You're not nervous to reach out. You're just like, hey man, what's going on? Like, right? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like, that's how it's supposed
Yeah.
to be. So love it.
hmm
Um, and now you talked a little bit about this in the beginning, Madison, but how has plugging into like a dial team and using it as, like a virtual home office, if you will, been pivotal to your success? Like, if you didn't have that, what do you think it would look like today?
Well, it's funny because it's when there's times like let's say whatever, let's say for example, right? I had my group going to the convention, and I decided not to go. I'm gonna dial, right? Throughout that week. They're not gonna be on Zoom because they're gonna be in the convention. So I've had similar scenarios like that. And what I've noticed was that dialing was real difficult because it was just pure silence. And it's just me and whatever crazy guy picks up. That's just that was just my day. And that 1 hour felt like the whole day. And when you have a group around you, one, they're obviously winning and they're positive because you don't want to be around negative people that are positive. It's very easy to go, throughout your day. And that 7 o'clock comes real fast. And when you hear, you know, one of your guys getting yelled at, and then this other guy gets yelled at, and then you get yelled at, and it's just funny, you make jokes about it. Eventually, it just doesn't hurt. You know, it's just funny. This guy was clearly mad at the world today. We'll put him in the not interested bucket. On to the next. And that's why it's good to also have enough leads too. Because when you don't have enough leads, then you're so like oh, I hope this guy buys from me. And that's not the mentality you should have. You know what I mean? Get enough leads where you don't care if they buy or not.
Absolutely. And there was a lot of good stuff in there. Now, dialing can definitely be difficult by yourself. It's like it's you, the phone, and like your leads. Like that's like, but it's you versus you. Now, if you dial alone and it's successful and it's working for you, I'm not mad at you. But what I am saying is if you're dialing alone and it's not working for you, please plug into the dial team. Like we're on there every single day, guys. Like just like Madison's saying, like if you're in a winning and positive environment, like you're going to be probably winning and positive. Like if you're not, you're might not be winning and positive, right? So with that being said, I love how you guys all plug into that. And it, like you said, it makes the day go by that much easier. It keeps it a little bit, more fun, right? If it's me and 12 people on dial team, that's a lot better than if it's just me sitting in my office with my leads and my phone, right? So definitely keeps it fun and also just helps you out, right? Like, has there ever been a time, Madison, that you've needed help and you were on the dial team and you like unmuted yourself, asked for help and like got it and then helped that family?
Oh no, 100%. I see my guys. Who's my boy Austin here? I think he's in here. He when he has a question, I use that sometimes. When he has a question, he'd be like, "All right, one of my underwriters available."
That's
So
right.
it's funny, yeah. So no, we're constantly supporting each other, which is awesome. And it's in the moment. There's no like, hold on or whatever. Like you just, quick little mute, yo, what do you think of this? And it's easy response. It's something you may not have the answer to.
Right. And I love that because it almost takes that in-home style of calling from the home right to telesales and it brings it like that, like you said, that almost instant answer. Like, hey, who's available? Hey, like I got a question, right? So love that and love how you've been able to use that too to see success because that's huge.
And also, sorry, not to cut you
No,
off. Also,
you're good.
it's a good accountability part too, because when you're unmuted, it's funny because like Freddie would be my accountability guy because he's in control of the whole Zoom, so he always puts me on mute every time. So when you're unmuted, and you get like a banking objection, or you couldn't get banking or you couldn't get social or whatever, you can always ask. Like what, and he does a good job with that. Like anything I could have done differently. The whole group does a good job with that. Anything I could have done differently. If the answer is no, then the guy was just not serious about insurance. You know what I mean? And where we keep it honest and open communication amongst each other, because we're just trying to win. So.
Absolutely. And when you're winning together, it feels that much better. So I love that, like the unmuting essence of it too. It's like no one can help you if they don't know what's going on. So love
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
And now, when it comes to telesales or just working in this business, what are some, your true like non-negotiables? Like this is not like I'm not negotiating it. Like it is happening. Like what does that look
The biggest thing is my schedule.
like? Okay.
That's it. That's it. You follow your schedule because at the end of the day, you're gonna build something for yourself that's gonna work, and you know that if you follow it, you're gonna hit whatever goal it is that you put in on that board. So my schedule, like for example, my schedule has been changing. I used to work till like 8:30, and 9 o'clock, even later. But now I'm like, okay, I want more family time. So my last appointment, I'll take 2 appointments at like between 6 and 6:30 to try to end by before 7 p.m., but still write the same business. Right. And, once you have a schedule in place, you got to make sure that you're not messing around in between. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you're, being disciplined on what it is that you're going to do. If you're going to, dial from 9 in the morning to 7 p.m., then you dial from 9 in the morning to 7 p.m. Not, 9 in the morning. And then, at 12, I go on lunch break for an hour and then I'll dial for 1 hour and then I'll take a 30-minute break. No. You're dialing from 9 in the morning to 7 p.m. And for me, it's like, I'm typically have a pretty booked schedule. I'm literally eating as I go. Like this time, like I just ate before it's not healthy, guys. I do have meal prep containers. I try to eat at least 4 times a day, 4 or 5 times a day. But I have my containers that I have put aside. But I'm literally eating as I'm dialing or in between. Like I just ended a call. Let me take 2 minutes to eat, and then I'm on to the next one.
Absolutely. And I think like if there's one thing I would like wholeheartedly agree with you on is like if there's one discipline that everyone needs to have down in this business to see any type of success, it's follow your schedule. Like whatever your schedule says, follow it and like you're gonna see success because all those little kind of tidbits you put in there from like meal prepping, right? It's like that's part of your schedule at one point or another to make sure that it doesn't intervene with your schedule like the next day or for the next couple of days, so to say. So I
Exactly.
think that that's huge. So make a schedule and just like Madison's saying, don't just make it, like you got to work it. Like be honest with yourself when you're making that schedule, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
Now in telesales, in home, I think they're kind of interchangeable at this point. They're both sales processes, so to say. But what are some of the most prominent questions you believe need to be asked during a telesale? Like they have to be asked, or like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
What do you mean, like for like credibility wise?
Yeah, so like even like exactly, even from like establishing credibility from the beginning, like or defining the why, like those types of questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think why is very important. So I mean, for me, I can walk you through like my initial. I have my script here. I've been doing this for like 6 months, so I still got my script, even though I know it. Like for example, you want me to walk you
And
through
by the
what that
way,
looks
I've
like?
been doing this for 7 years, and I still have my script too. Like just so you know, like so I'm like always hang on to your script, all right, guys?
Oh, always, always. You want me to walk you through what that looks like?
Yeah, let's run it. Let's
Okay.
run it for
All right.
sure.
All right. So hey, this is Madison. I was just giving you a quick call about that form you submitted regarding the new life insurance options for veterans. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Awesome. So today we'll excuse me, I almost skipped the whole step here. I got your date of birth here as 7/24/94. You're currently in Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I see that you put that you're happily married and you served in the army.
Correct.
I do want to thank you for your service, Marissa. And then, at that point, that part I think is good, because you're, obviously letting them know that you're thankful. For me, it's veteran leads, so it's a little different. Other leads are different, but for me, I'm letting them know I'm thankful for what they did for our country. You know what I mean? Before we start anything, I put a little joke on the happily married because it only says married. Some are like, yeah, I served in the army. Oh, so you're not happily married? So, they get to see a little bit of your personality right off the jump. In between that, I mean, for credibility purposes, what I like to do, for appointments, I'll just be like,
So
hey,
role
I
play
know
it with
you.
me, Madison, if you don't mind, like
Okay,
the credibility.
I got you.
All right,
All right,
cool.
cool. All right, so today we'll be looking, Marissa. Today we'll be looking into the VA life programs and the veteran-friendly carriers to figure out which one makes the most sense for you. Okay.
Okay.
Now, was your main concern, like most veterans, just wanting to make sure that the funeral expense doesn't fall a burden on your loved ones?
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, were you also looking to try and leave some extra money behind as well as possible?
Yeah, if I'm able, I would like to.
Awesome. All righty. Now, quick question. You must have received a bunch of text messages and emails here from my assistant, Aaron. And did you receive any of those text messages and emails from her?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, it's just reminding you of like the appointment we had and all that. If you scroll up on there, you received a link to the veteran life insurance website here in the United States. If you were to click that link there, it was gonna have a picture of me holding my son, my national license number, and all my state licenses that I have here in the States. Did you get a chance to take a look at that?
Oh yeah, I see it now. It's great.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's just a new protocol here in Texas. It's just, they require us to make sure that you know exactly who you're talking to. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on online, alrighty? I'm sure you can understand.
For sure.
All right. Now, God forbid, if you were to pass away today, Marissa, who would be the beneficiary picking up the pieces tomorrow?
My spouse.
Your spouse. Okay. All righty. And what is Mr. Maggio's name?
We'll rock with Rami.
Or Romney?
Rami, Rami. That's my boyfriend. He's also in the business.
I got you. All righty. Now, have you given any thought on whether you were to be buried or cremated?
I'd want to be buried.
Buried. Awesome. All righty. Do you know about how much that costs?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. So it's anywhere between like $10,000 to $20,000, all depending on how fancy Romney wants to get with you.
Okay.
Now, now, God forbid, if you were to pass away today, do you have like a life insurance policy or maybe some money put aside to cover that cost?
No, I don't.
No, okay. So obviously this is something really important to you then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And so since you don't have anything as of today to cover those final expenses, your goal today is to put your family in a better situation, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. Now, before we do dive into your eligibility, just so we're on the same page and, we're obviously not breaking the bank here because that's important. At the end of the month, what's typically left over after all bills are paid? Just a ballpark number.
Maybe like 500.
About $500. Okay, gotcha. Now, two discounts that you may qualify for. Are you a smoker, non-smoker?
Non-smoker.
Perfect. Amen. All right. Another discount here you may qualify for. Do you bank here locally in Georgia?
I use my my green dot card.
The green dot card? Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Talking about the Direct Express?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All righty. All right. Now, a little bit on your health here. In the last 5 years, any like cancer, heart attack, heart failure, stroke?
No.
No? Okay, thank God. Any diabetes or neuropathy?
No.
Okay, good. Do you take pills for high blood pressure?
No, I don't. The only medication I take is for cholesterol. I take a torvastatin.
Okay, gotcha. All righty. Any like no lupus, RA, asthma, or COPD?
No.
No. Okay, good, good, good. Any you bipolar, schizophrenic, Marissa?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good. I'll be talking to three of you today, huh? What's up? Any kidney or liver problems for you?
No,
Okay, good. You're healthy as a horse, huh?
I am.
That's good. One last thing, a height and weight for you.
About 5 feet, 110 pounds.
Awesome. All righty. So then from there, I mean, I just hit on like the numbers. You want me to get to that too?
Yeah, I wanted to see how you pitch, if you don't mind, if that's okay.
Yeah, gotcha.
Cool.
All righty. So bear with me here for 2-3 minutes as I punch this information into the state system and see what the private sector has available versus the VA, okay?
Okay.
All righty. Now, before we do go over those packages, Marissa, I'm just gonna explain how the process works, all righty?
Okay.
So it's not like going to your local grocery store where you can just see it, like it, buy it. It is something that you do have to get approved for. So they just do a quick MIB prescription background check just to make sure, you didn't have like a heart attack yesterday or something crazy like being strapped to a hospital bed, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. Now, if you can do me a favor, if you can just grab a pen and paper for me, I'm gonna just give you some benefits in regards to the plan, and then we'll go over those packages.
Okay, I
And
have
then they'll
one.
get okay. If you can just write down for me, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3 going down.
Okay.
Alrighty. So number one, I want you to write down day one coverage.
Okay.
Alrighty. So pretty straightforward. That means that once you make your first payment, you'll be covered day one. No 2-year wait period like most carriers.
So Marissa, for sake of argument, let's say if you got approved today, paid today, died tomorrow, God forbid, Romney will be paid in full.
Okay,
Number two is this is a fixed rate. So the price
Okay.
will never increase on you, and the coverage will never decrease on you. That's very important. There's a lot of weird plans out there.
absolutely.
And lastly, number three, the most important one, this is permanent coverage. So this
Okay.
coverage will never expire on you. It's a whole life policy.
Got it.
Okay. So all the way to 121 years old. Now, if you make it that far, Marissa, I'll pay for your funeral.
That sounds fair.
All right. Any questions on that?
No, that makes sense.
Oh.
Sounds great.
Okay, perfect. So based on what you told me, I built 3 packages of coverage, and you can decide which one makes the most sense. But keep in mind, I can adjust as you please, because the goal here is to find the right amount of coverage for the best price. But at the end of the day, it does have to be affordable to you. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. So on that piece of paper, if you can write down for me gold, silver, and bronze.
Okay.
All righty. So the gold option here is going to be, say, 20,000.
Okay.
Silver is going to be 15,000,
Okay.
and the bronze is going to be 10,000.
All right.
All righty. Now, all of these will cover your burial. I guess you're kind of deciding how much money you want to leave behind for Rami. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. So the $20,000 package there, the gold one, this is the most coverage you can potentially qualify for. That $20,000 one there, I legally got to show you. And that particular one is going to cost you $300 a month.
Okay.
The silver package. So this package is the most popular among veteran family. This is the $15,000 package for $200 a month.
Okay.
And then the bronze package, which will cover your basic burial. This one will be $100 a month.
All right.
All right, Marissa. Now, a real important question here. If you were to qualify for one of those, which one of those are you most comfortable with? Or should we look up or down, or maybe something specific?
I like the middle one.
Middle one? Okay, perfect. Now, next important question, Marissa, because I know you only have about $500 disposable, and this plan's about $200. I'm a medical underwriter for veterans here, and my job here is to help, not hurt. And the last thing I want to do is plan a bill on you. Is that something, that option, is that sustainable for you and your family?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Glad we're on the same page. So the next step here will take about 5 to 7 minutes, nothing crazy. So we'll just go ahead and submit a request to try to get you qualified. Do keep in mind they don't approve everyone, but I will do my very best to get you that coverage, all right? Because I'm on your corner.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, and then obviously, I'll just go through that, the application, and then the banking part. This is the one I've had the most success with. So I'm like, all right, Marissa. So the final part here is, I'm sure you've heard of it, is Georgia's anti-money laundering verification.
Okay.
Have you heard of that before?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, no worries. I'll explain it to you. Now, what that means is that they'll do a fraud check on you. You obviously, Marissa, don't seem like the type, but ever since COVID, there was a huge spike in insurance fraud. People are trying to take out life insurances on deceased people. It was crazy. So if I'm able to get you qualified today, it doesn't mean you're fully qualified until you go through that fraud check, which typically takes about 1 to 2 business days through banking verification. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Perfect. Now, important question here. If this does get approved, since it's immediate coverage, do you want it to go into effect immediately too, like most families?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this part is important because you want to let them know that they're going to get charged. So I'm like, and usually I'll post date it a couple days. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So nothing's coming out today, ma'am, because they still have to go through the full approval. So you will see that first initial premium probably come out sometime next week. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Perfect. All righty. Now, here in the state system, in Aetna, sorry, my dog.
It's okay. No worries.
All right. So here in the state system, you put that red dot. That's a green dot. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna pretend it's a bank. So here in the state system, with Aetna, CVS, they're partnered with every single federal bank, in the United States. So it looks here. You said you bank with Navy Fed. So I'm gonna go
Yes.
ahead and read you the routing number that the state system has here. Can you just do me a favor and just grab a checkbook for me, an old checkbook there, just to verify to make sure it's correct on my end. I just gotta check off the green check mark here on my side.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna grab it now for you.
Perfect. And then that's it.
Love it. That was awesome. So great job, Madison. Thank you so much for role
Thank you.
playing through that with me. That was great. And I think
Yeah,
that I mean, I wrote down like a million things, so you added a bunch of value, that's for sure. And one thing I do want to hit on, which I loved, is when you pitch, you know, bronze, silver, gold, that's how I like to pitch as well. And you pitch bottom up, which is cool. But then once the person picks it, you're not just like trigger happy, meaning that you weren't just like, okay, like get your driver's license. Like you're like, okay, well, basically, you know, we want to make sure that above everything it's affordable, right? Like you went back to affordability to make sure, like, hey, are you sure you don't want to start with option A? Are you sure you don't want to look at something a little bit lower? We want to make sure it's actually comfortable for you. And
right.
I think when you're taking that extra step, Madison, you're probably seeing a lot less fall off. And you're also probably having people maybe be honest and say, you know what, maybe I should start with that option A. Can I increase it? Right? Like they're going to keep it real with you. And then in terms of the anti-money laundering, I think that that's really important too, guys. I told you, no, I'm not familiar, just so you could kind of run through it. So thank you for that. But like, explaining it like a fraud check, right? Like it's going to take a little while to come back. We got to make sure we're clearing you in that department, so to say, right? Through COVID, ABC happened. And then how you ask, you know, do you want this to go into effect immediately, like most families, and like the coverage, or like you kind of leave the door open? And when you're saying like most families, like I want to be like most families, right? Like it's that herd
Exactly.
mentality, right? So it's like, well, that's what most families do. Like I'm okay with it, right? Because like you said in when we were telling, you know, in the presentation, you don't want that person to wake up with a charge on their account that they're not aware of. I can promise you they're going to cancel, they're going to hate you. Like that's just
Exactly.
how it works, right? So that was awesome. And then going into the routing number, right? Hey, the state has the routing number as this. Can you please verify on your checkbook that it is this, right? And then boom, boom, you're putting everything together. Beautiful. So I love that. You kind of got all of the objections out of the way. And I think that that's important, you know, on the front end versus you're in and asking for the bank information and you haven't explained anything. And they're like, why would I need my bank information, right? Like you asked me from the jump what bank I had, right? Like, so it's full transparency, guys, through the call. And I think that that shines through, Madison. Now I'm not confused, you know, why you're helping 60 families a month. So love it, love it. And just to kind of close the call out and be respectful of everybody's time. First of all, you added a ton of value. Like guys, I know I wrote down a ton of notes. So I hope you guys did too. But in terms of convention, will you be attending convention? And why?
Well, first off, I feel like I have to. I feel like I have to. My whole group is going, you know, and I guess I also want to see who's walking the stage because I'll be walking it next year. So, well, this year coming up. So
that's right. You absolutely will be. So you gotta see like a test run, right? No, but
yeah, I gotta see how the competition's looking.
and it's probably good to, like you said, get out there and see everybody. You're like, well, everybody's going, like everybody that you're on dial team with every day, right? Like they're all going. You're not gonna miss it, and you're gonna have a whole bunch of information jam packed with everybody that you're on Zoom with day in, day out. And there's nothing more valuable than that. So
yeah,
no
and
doubt.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm
No,
really
you're
bad
good.
with
Go
that.
for it.
I am really bad with that. I'm sorry. More importantly, I do want to obviously see everybody that's winning for sure, and be around everybody that is winning. And also, like, you know, if I can leave you guys with anything today, you know, don't sell yourself short. I think that when I was going the first couple months, I do I have it? Oh yeah, I do have it. Hold on, I gotta show you something real quick. Never mind. It's kind of messed up. But I used to literally, it was like my old board, and my goal was to try to do 30,000 a month, which was probably like 1,500. And now I look at that like it's, you know, a joke, because, you know, once you hit certain numbers, then it becomes real. You know, you hit 10,000 for the first week, like, okay, I just gotta do it again. And once you do it, you're like, okay, you know, what's my next goal? 15,000. What's my next goal? 20,000. And once you start hitting it, then it becomes more real. And, you know, just don't sell yourself short. You know, there's people doing it. You know, I had 60, you know, 50 something thousand. My goal is to one day hit 100,000. I will hit it. And, you know, there's people that write 1 million a year. Why can't y'all, and why can't I? You know, we're no different. So.
Amen to that. And that's huge. Guys, don't sell yourself short. You know, just like Madison said, like once you get the ball rolling, like it's hard to roll the snowball up the hill, but once you get it up the hill, it's a lot easier to roll it back down, and a lot quicker too. So you can kind of 10x that result, or multiply that result, like just like you did, right? You said, this was my old goal. This is my new goal. Now you're like, I'm going to help 100 families in a month. No doubt I can do it. There's people doing it. I'm not confused. So I love that. You've added a ton of value today,
Awesome.
from a stance of not only telesales, but also just mindset and character, right? Like you gotta, you have to be willing to show up, and you have to be willing to be there in order to partake and reap rewards as well.